Blender is a wonderful program for creating 3D graphics, animation, and visualization. It offers a rich set of tools and features to bring your creative vision to life. However, when it comes to creating realistic 3D characters, the process can be a bit complicated and demanding. That's where DAZ3D, a software that specializes in creating and customizing 3D characters, comes to our rescue. In DAZ3D, open the Smart Content tab and select Figures, People, and Female or Male, depending on who you want, and then select Genesis 8. This is the standard character in DAZ3D. Now we have a female character like this. The next thing we do is to add her hair. I have a lot of hair that I downloaded earlier, but you'll only have the standard hair. That's what we'll choose. You can buy different ones from the official DAZ store or get them for free on ShadowCore. Now we will give our character a pose. Here are the default poses that you can use. Or you can create a pose by yourself. Just drag by different body parts or click on any body part and use the settings in the Parameters tab at the bottom right. Now I'm going to set up some simple pose. Now go to the Shaping tab where you can change the shape of our character's body or face, but I'll only change the face because the default face is pretty ugly. And for that I use the face shape of other downloaded characters, just mixing them up. I will also adjust the hair by selecting it in the Scene tab on the top right. I'll just increase their length. Then I'll change the position of the character's pupils so that she's looking sideways. And I'll play with the lip settings a little bit. Now I'll lengthen the eyelashes using the lashes of the other characters. The last thing I want to do is change the texture of the eyes. For that, I'll go into Materials and use the Materials library from other characters. That's it. Now click File, Export, and save the character in OBJ format. This opens up the export options. Set the scale to around 2% and maps to original. That's it. Click on Accept. Now go to Blender. Delete unnecessary stuff and go to File, Import, Wavefront, OBJ. Now select the file we saved earlier. In Geometry, check Split by Object and Split by Group. Click Import OBJ. Cool. Now let's adjust the camera resolution. I usually put 3000 by 3000 pixels. Then, press N, go to View, and check Camera to View. Now we can expose the frame just by moving around the scene. Let's also go into the camera settings and change the focal length. You can put it somewhere around 85, but I usually put it somewhere around 135. Let's create an additional window to make it easier to look at our results. Turn off the side menu by pressing T, turn off Overlay, and go to Rendered. Now we can see that the eyes are white for some reason, but that's just a shell of 3 objects. You can just delete them, or you can do this. Combine them with Ctrl+J. Remove the extra material, go into Shading, and connect the glass BSDF. This will make more sense in cycles. The next thing I'll do is adjust the lighting. I'll choose some HDRI map in the free official Blender kit add-on. The link is in the description. For me, I need this environment more for reflections than lighting. I'll go to Shading World and give the lighting I want with mapping. I don't need a background, so I copy the background node, merge them with the Mix Shader node, add the Light Path node, and plug the eye's camera ray into the factor. As we can see, the background is gone, and now we can change the strength of the light as well as the color of the background. I'll set the light to 0.1 and make the background black. Then I will set the light on the scene with Area Light. I'm not very good at this, so I mostly do this at random. Use Shift+T to make it easier to direct the light to the character. The skin looks really bad, we'll fix that. But first let's combine the eye socket, ears, lips, and face into one object, because they have the same material. I'll change the name and remove unnecessary materials. Now go to Shading and duplicate the face texture, connect it to Subsurface Color, and in between add Hue Saturation. You can notice that I'm showing the resulting texture over the nodes. This is the fault of an add-on called Node Preview. This is actually a paid add-on. You can buy it for $1.25 or find it somewhere for free. So let's set up the node so that the skin is bright orange or something. Now let's increase the subsurface and see that the skin has become similar to silicone, so let's set a smaller value, something like 0.02 or 0.01. Then go to the location of the face texture, copy the file path, and paste it into the Explorer. We can see that there are different textures here. We need these 4. These are base color, specular, bump and subsurface scattering in surfaces, but I don't really know how to use it, so we won't touch it. So drag and drop the bump and specular into the shading. We plug specular into specular, and also plug color ramp to control the value. Let's decrease the roughness value and adjust the specular through color ramp. Now add a bump node and connect color to height and normal to normal. This is a very large value, so let's set the strength to somewhere around 0.1. And now we can see that the skin has become very similar to the real one. Then we need to do the same with the other parts of the body that will be visible in the camera frame. Here I made a mistake and chose the wrong texture for the body. I corrected it later, but be careful. The next thing I'm going to do is to change the color of the hair. This could be done in DAZ3D itself, but I decided to do it here. So let's go to the hair color folder. There are lots of colors here. You can also change to any color you want in Photoshop. For the example, I'm going to choose a pink color. Oops, we don't need this texture yet. We plug in the new texture and see that the color has changed. Now let's change the specular and roughness values to be more realistic. I'm going to set everything to 0.5. These hairs are made up of 3 objects, so we do this with all of them. Also do the same with the eyelashes. I decided to change the color of the face a little bit because it seemed too yellow to me, but I forgot that I could do it with hue saturation in Blender. So if you want to do the same thing, use that node. Also, the idea came to me to make some parts of the face pinkish, like makeup or something like that. I didn't know how to do it more properly. I'm not very good at Photoshop. So I decided to just create a duplicate layer, make it the right color and erase with an eraser where I needed it. Now I plugged in a new texture instead of the old one and got something like this. That'll do. I changed the light a little bit because I didn't really like the current one. Now let's go to cycles and change the max samples. I'll put 128. In light paths, change total to 45 or 90. The higher the value, the longer rendering. For me, 45 is enough. This will make the hair more realistic. Another thing I'll do is raise the contrast. This can also be done in Photoshop with more control, but I'll do it here. Now turn on the denoising data. Let's go into compositing. We add denoise. And plug in denoising normal in normal and denoising albedo in albedo. I also like to add glare nodes. You can put streaks or fog glow depending on the work you're doing. I choose fog glow, but I don't think it makes much difference to my work. I also want to change the frame a little bit. Now we can render our work. And we ended up with this. If you are not happy with the result, you can improve it in Photoshop. Most of my works become better after processing in Photoshop. At the conclusion of this video tutorial, you learned how to transfer 3D characters from DAZ3D to Blender, combining the advantages of both programs and opening up new possibilities for your creativity. Now you can use the extensive DAZ3D library to create unique and realistic characters and then refine them in Blender by adding animations, environments, and additional effects. Feel free to experiment, customize, and bring your wildest ideas to life in the world of 3D design with DAZ3D and Blender. And remember, there are no limits, just your imagination and creativity. Good luck with your future projects, and thanks for watching this tutorial.